But do we say the word?
No,
Yeah.
I
That's the
don't.
thing.
I never heard it. I think
Yeah.
like even like how would I don't even. I'm not sure I know how to say it. Like
In Arabic.
but you know.
Okay. All right. So thank you for being here. This is another episode of Another Day in Paradise.
As you can see.
Thank you, Reda, for being here.
Thank you for hosting as usual.
Yeah, man. It's always a pleasure. So today we decided to talk about something quite interesting, which
Okay.
is the word or the expression "I love you." I watched an episode of Cut for people who like this. It's actually pretty good. It's on YouTube, and they asked 100 people. No, it's actually good.
No,
They
just
asked
like
100 people
Mhm.
to. They didn't tell them ahead of time, and they just told them, "Okay, take your phone out and call somebody and tell them I love you."
Okay.
Like, from out of 100 people, who do you think people called or thought about calling from the get go?
I would say probably the mom
Yeah.
or the partner.
Yes. Yes. I think.
Or maybe, and for eventually the ones that are older, a child.
Yes, yes, definitely. So a lot of people called the mom, which was pretty cool. And then some people were like, who can I call? And they started flipping through their phone. Like, that's not a
Yeah.
good sign.
Nope.
Not a good sign. Like, you need to look inside your memory or your heart, I guess, if it's not too cheesy to say that. But of course, but to start swiping your phone and say, okay, who can I call and say I love you? I felt like it was a little bit strange. But anyways, not easy to say when you mean it.
That's the thing. Exactly. Very hard to say when you actually mean it.
Yeah.
And today it's quite, you know, it lost a lot of value because a lot of people say it a lot. So
I think in the US they do. They close the conversations on the phone. Okay, bye, love you. Okay, love you, bye,
Yeah.
bye. But in Morocco, do we say it a lot? Not really.
we say it in other ways, I guess.
But do we say the word?
No,
Yeah.
I
That's the
don't.
thing.
I never heard it. I think
Yeah.
like even like how would I don't even. I'm not sure I know how to say it. Like
In Arabic.
نحبك. You know. Would you say that to your girlfriend or something?
We would say Kenbrik.
Yeah, even that, man.
But it would be like as a joke.
Yeah, like
But it wouldn't be like not as a joke, like you don't mean it, but it would be covered by humor because it's like too real. But when you say, like, I'm not sure if you're willing to share like personal stuff.
I'm
but-
an open book.
Okay, man. So, how does it work in your family? Is it a word that goes around in your family or not really?
Well, it depends, I guess, on the different roles in the family. Like,
Okay.
I think the classical thing. I think a mother is usually more inclined to use it than a dad. What's funny is that it changes because in our household we speak usually we mix languages,
Okay.
and weirdly, in certain languages, there's more "I love yous" than in others.
So that's actually quite interesting. So you do speak a little bit of English at home,
Yeah.
right? You mix it
Yeah.
with French and a little bit of Arabic, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
And what's predominant?
Well, French, I think.
French.
I would say like 60% French, 30% English, 20% Moroccan Arabic.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
So what language is it easier to say I love you in your household?
definitely English.
Because it's like the
Because
Western brain.
not necessarily because the overusage of it makes it become kind of like an expression, you know, like à tout. You know, like
Yeah, yeah.
okay,
I love you. Bye. Yeah.
like funny story. It's so much like that that at the job that I had before, we had someone answering the phones, and it was his first day. And the first client he got, he was a bit stressed. He was like, "Okay, thank you, bye bye. Okay, I love you." You know, like in a very so
no, that's
you know that's funny.
but it is a very it's a word that we don't use a lot. It's very hot and spicy.
Yeah.
It creates a lot of emotions, especially if you mean it. But I think when the way Americans usually say it, because I live there, so I'm not sure about the other parts of the world. But the way they say it, it loses the heat.
Yeah,
Like-
it's not.
It's almost like saying goodbye.
it's not a secret.
Yeah.
like it's not.
It's not like, listen, mom, I really appreciate you. I love you. I wanted to tell you something. I love you. No, it's like, okay, love you. Bye. Okay, love you. Bye. So English, it's very common to say. But how about in French?
I think in French, it holds a bit more value because there's more nuances, like in the types of love. You know, like I the word love in French is used that way is very particular.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like there are like slangs, kiffer, this.
Yeah.
It's not as like
And again, these are substitutes to take away the heat from the word.
Exactly.
Because it's too hot to handle. So
exactly.
So yeah, it's interesting because I was teaching a class and one of my students said, "I love sushi,"
Yeah.
and I said, "You like sushi or you love sushi?" And she said, "Oh, isn't it the same?" I said, "Not really. They are degrees." So
True.
I like you and I love you, like love and passion. It's even more
Yeah.
powerful. So. Different words, I think, but we hide around
Yeah.
semantics to
But
take away
I
the.
see like in movies, for instance, in English, like before getting to the love part, they're like, "I like her," but you like her, or you like her. You know, like.
But if I say I love you,
Yeah.
so in the same show, Cut, they talked about how long does it take for you before you say I love you to in a relationship,
Ah.
and the answer is like he said maybe 3-4 months. Yeah, that's reasonable. What is a reasonable time to say I love you in a relationship?
I don't know if there's a reasonable time because
Yeah.
usually, you know what that time is when the other says it. You know, like it's kind of like I don't want to say it first, but once it's out there, no pressure.
Yeah, but so if your partner says I love you, you kind of like have to commit to and say, "Oh, I love you back."
I don't think it depends.
You can't leave her hanging and like, "I love you." "Ah,
Yeah.
I know. Aight.
Hungry? But
So what's for dinner?
I don't know. I think when you're like okay, you're straight in your head and stuff. It's whenever you actually, I think you need to have some type of confirmation. You know, it can come very fast.
No, true.
But
But even if it comes,
I don't think it's that much time related, in my
Yeah.
personal opinion.
No, of course, it depends on the nature of the relationship. It's not
Exactly.
about timing. But funny enough, mothers have an easier time to say I love you to children. Fathers in Morocco, almost unheard of. I'm not even sure my dad knows this word.
Yeah,
But
but they say it another way.
in so many other ways.
No, like they show it in a lot of ways, but
For
they
sure.
say it as well in other ways. Like in Morocco, we have the
Lardalik.
Lardalik, for
Yeah.
instance, which a lot of people take for granted. But if you,
I think it holds
Actually-
the same heat.
it's,
For me, it holds the same
man,
heat.
it holds a lot of heat.
Yeah.
You know,
The
like,
same or less?
I think it's more important to have
The blessing of
The
the parents
blessing than the love.
Yeah, because Lerdelik has like a religious almost like connotation, and it's like I appreciate you, and
No, it's kind of like
very
the
much
stamp
like,
of like you're a good child to have.
yes, like I'm proud of you,
Yeah,
which is also a tough one. Yeah,
exactly. And
Yeah.
and usually when you get it, you run after it for usually a good while. I think especially boys with their fathers
Yeah.
mostly, and probably girls with their moms. But once you get it,
That's it.
you
Yeah.
don't know exactly what to do with it because like it's very very heavy.
Yeah, yeah. But is it the same as to say I'm proud of you? This is another word that we don't use a lot in Morocco, I guess.
I think that kind of sums up the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, like having the blessing of a parent. I think
Means everything.
yeah, like it
Yeah.
means that you became someone that we can be proud of, that we're happy to say that we produced that,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they're happy with themselves as parents as well.
Yeah.
And I think, man, it's the jackpot.
No, it is definitely, especially in our culture. I think when you say, "Oh, like he's we're not gonna use too many Arabic words. We don't want to turn it into an Arabic podcast." But Saddam Khotl Walidin, like his parents are not blessing him, like they are not proud of him. It's a big insult. Like it's really bad. That means this apple is no good. This guy is no bueno.
I think any negative thing that kind of like on that level, like someone saying like a parent saying I can't look at you, or
Yeah.
you're like
It's funny because I was telling my friends that I was very reasonable when I was younger, and sometimes I didn't give myself permission to do certain things, and my parents said, "Oh no, you can go to the prom or whatever, the equivalent of the prom or whatever." And I said, I don't want to go. I don't think I deserve it or whatever. And I was having this conversation with my friends, and they said like that's
Why the hell?
ridiculous. Why wouldn't you? And I said like, the worst thing when you ask permission to your parents and they say, I disagree. I don't think you should go, but if you want to go, just go.
yeah.
And then so like parents,
No,
the
I get
weight
it. I get
it
what you
holds, what they say and what they don't say, the way it holds is like
100%.
crucial.
Like,
if a friend says I love you, who cares? But your parents,
Exactly.
it becomes like very, very heavy.
Oh, and the thing that you said, like that, Ardad al-Walidin, which is the blessing
Parents, yeah.
of parents, holds almost a mystical value.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, I know that if I'm about to go do something and I don't have kind of like not the permission, but the blessing.
Yeah.
Something in your mind tells you,
Yeah. You
this
don't feel
plan
good.
is no good.
Yeah.
You know that you're gonna jump in your car and have some kind of issue.
It's gonna fuck up somewhere.
Yeah.
No, that's very true. So I love you is hard to come around here in Morocco, but for
Yeah.
children, no problem.
Yeah. Well, as long as they don't really know the value of it, we can give it to them.
That's very ironic, right?
It's
Like,
crazy.
We only take it away from them when they start appreciating and knowing the value.
Exactly.
Like, okay, you can play with this knife, but once they realize they can kill with this knife, okay, no playing with knives. Like, you can play with this word. Oh,
Yeah.
but what now? And why do you think it's so hard to say I love you? Because even in the US, I'm sorry to cut you off. In the show
I
Cut.
didn't start. You
Okay,
didn't cut me.
so I know. I thought I saw your brain running around. So when they started calling people and really meaning the "I love you," 90% got emotional. It created reaction. So
Of
it is
course.
tough even for people because there is a difference between "I love you," okay, I love you, bye, and "Hey, I'm calling you to say I love you." This one is tough.
Yeah, of
So
course.
why do you think it's so tough? Because we do love people. Why is it so tough to tell them?
Because it's a form of vulnerability.
Yeah.
You know,
It is.
like you need to get to that point of saying, telling someone that you love them, like really puts you in a position where you're kind of like taking out all the armors and all the walls and all that stuff and be like, here's the truth.
Yeah. But it shouldn't be too hard to be vulnerable when it comes to your mom or your dad or your brother or your sister.
Depends.
Why is it so hard?
Depends
Like, come on.
because once it kind of goes, it's aligned with how you feel about yourself and how good you are with yourself. Because when you're not happy with yourself, there's no way in your mind that you can tell yourself that they're happy with me. For instance, so being vulnerable in a state where you're not good with yourself is very hard. This is why people tell you like that love yourself. You cannot love if you don't love yourself and stuff.
Yeah.
It's not that cheesy actually.
No, it's
You
not.
know, like it has kind of like a mechanic of
Reciprocity. Yeah.
because I like this subject because I had this discussion with a friend where it's like, in order to give and receive love, you need to kind of like define the pride part. Not pride in the sense of ego, but being proud of yourself, which is the highest form, I think, of self-love.
What do you mean? Like you have to define the pride within yourself?
Like that's the goal that you have with yourself, is to be proud. That's the best way of loving yourself.
So the first step is to be comfortable with yourself.
Yeah, because a
before
lot of people
start
tell you like
projecting.
how to be happy or how to be this, or people go for happiness or this, but the self accomplishment of being proud of yourself gives you that confidence to be okay to walk naked.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like in life in general.
Yeah.
And once you get there, usually people that are proud of themselves don't have anything to prove.
Yeah.
So they don't have that kind of like impact from an external point of view,
I see.
and it's more real.
Just checking if we're still recording because this is pretty good. This is
Yeah.
pretty good. I don't want to miss it. But do you think like it's which one is harder to say I love you or I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, I think.
I think you say, okay. So let me give you my argument why. I'll play the devil's advocate.
Yeah,
to
of
be
course.
really honest, I'm not really sure.
No, it's very close.
They both suck.
It's very
They-
close.
It's a close second. Okay, it's a tie in my opinion because I'm
Yes.
sorry you screwed up. So you are fixing things. I love you. It comes from nowhere.
Yeah,
you don't
but,
have
you know,
to. There is no.
It's not even I screwed up. That's the problem. Is that you need to admit it,
I understand.
not only to yourself but to someone else. People, like we said in Morocco, like me personally, I never heard a father saying "I'm sorry"
yeah, it's very tough.
to a child.
Very tough. It's almost impossible.
Usually, they just go back to normal, or have some kind of gesture like "come to dinner,"
Yeah,
or something. But because the "I'm sorry," not only do you know, because people know when they fuck up usually.
Yeah.
Sometimes takes time, but usually you get there.
Yeah.
But then to admit it to yourself, but to admit it to someone else, that's very hard because you need ego, bro.
Yeah. But also ego, but also you screw up. People are a little bit upset.
Yeah.
And you have to make it right. So, in my opinion, you are already emotional. You are not in a comfortable stage in a phase of your life, etc. You screwed up. You need to apologize. It's probably not going to fix everything, but this is what you need to do. But I love you. You don't have to, technically. You choose to put yourself in that spot.
Yeah.
So it has.
And it's a positive thing at the end.
Yeah.
Like
But saying I'm sorry
it's
is also
very
a
hard
positive thing.
because like it's very hard to say I love you to someone. Whatever. I'm not talking about the high school, where you say I love you and the girl and laughs with their girlfriend. Like it's very hard to have a negative reaction to a real I love you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And whereas when you say I'm sorry, not only that you put yourself in that position, but that doesn't make the things right. You still need to wait for the reaction.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
can go both ways.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not. It's not. You didn't win the. Yeah. You
Like
didn't.
nobody tells you I don't love you. Like unless it's or in a
You
relationship.
provoke it. Yeah.
In a
Unless you
relationship,
provoke
you
it,
might have
really.
I don't love you yet,
Yeah.
but very rare to have I don't love you.
How about I hate you?
Oof.
This we almost never hear.
Well, we hear in emotional states, and hate is just a love that's a bit angry. Yeah,
It's just love that needs a little more time.
exactly.
No, but yeah, I think I'm sorry, and all those emotional things to say that we don't have this kind of equipment where you can just.
I thought it
No,
was
we're
there.
not there yet. The I love you, and I heard one day I was
Uh-huh.
with a friend, and his dad is like a big shot, etc. Older gentleman. He had him when he was a little bit old. So
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
his dad is old school per se,
Mhm.
and he just had an argument with his dad, and we were going to Casablanca, and then he got a phone call from his dad, and they were arguing about something ridiculous like we need to do this, we need to do that for the farm, we need to. I think you shouldn't do this way. You should do it my way, etc.
Yeah.
And he just called him and said, "Listen, like he was like beating around the bushes and said, hey, like what I said, I didn't mean like you did it wrong. What I'm just saying is that maybe we should do it." Yeah, Dad, I know, but and they went again into this argument. And he said, okay, that's not why I'm calling you. And you could hear the voice of the mother saying, "No,
Yeah.
just tell him, stop this.
You
just
call
tell
him right now
call
and
him
you
right-
apologize."
Yeah, exactly. And like, don't apologize by saying, "Oh, you know why I did this, etc." Just say, "I'm sorry. We know why you said this because you think
No,
differently."
and
he
apologize
said, "I'm
when
sorry."
you mean it, not to make just things
Yes.
go back. Like
All right, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
And he said, "I'm sorry." Dude, it was like thunder.
Ooh,
the guy-
it breaks you.
The guy, he was
Isn't
driving
that-
and he hung up, and we were in the car going to a party.
Yeah.
And he said, all right, that's
Yeah.
interesting. My dad just called me to apologize. And he literally said, "I'm sorry. I never thought I would hear my dad say this ever." And he started he got very emotional. So did I. And he said, "Let's go for a quick drive before we jump in the party." I said, yeah. And he was like super quiet, and I was super quiet. Like even me, it took me a while to digest this
No,
because
and you want
it's
to
all the culture
You want to
that broke.
soak in that moment as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
you
It's
know?
like the whole cultural background, Moroccan background.
Because that's the ultimate I love you, technically. For a dad
good one.
to
Yeah.
because man, especially in Morocco. For a dad to like break down to a level where he's like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Surrender.
and
Yeah.
surrendering. You see, he's that big warrior with swords and stuff, and he like drops it down, and
Yeah.
he becomes vulnerable.
Yeah, and the vulnerability is tough.
Yeah.
Like with strangers or pseudo strangers, but even inside the close, tight family, it's still complicated to say I'm sorry because you admit, and also sometimes I think people don't want to say I'm sorry because they admit weakness and they think people would take advantage of it, which is not always the case. It's actually strength that you demonstrate. It's not weakness. That you can be self-conscious about your fucked up and your screw ups, and then you
100%.
say, "Hey, listen, I shouldn't have done it that way. I'm sorry." Yeah, I
And
think
same
our
goes for
generation,
forgiveness as well.
forgiveness is tough. Forgiveness is tough also. And again, we are not talking about don't worry about it, that's fine. We are talking about
Yeah, of
real
course.
forgiveness.
Yeah, definitely.
Real expression of sorrow and real expression of forgiveness. And I think it's easier to forgive. It's not easier to forget because we cannot control forgetting. So we can
Even forgiving
forgive
is
you.
very hard. Huh?
No, forgive is hard, but you cannot force yourself to forget. You can argue with yourself and say, "All right, well, he didn't do it on purpose. He
Well,
was
I
under
would
pressure."
argue
etc."
that if you really forgive, you don't need to forget.
If you really forgive, you don't need to forget.
Yeah.
I think it's impossible to force yourself to forget. So this is not in
No,
your
what I
control.
mean is that usually people that don't forget is because they kind of like have a trauma out of that.
Yeah,
And when you truly forgive, it doesn't.
it definitely helps you forget.
It kind of like dissolves. You
Dilutes
don't
it.
have
Yeah, yeah.
that thumbnail or that like.
That's true. That's true.
So yeah, that's the power of forgiveness, because this is why a lot of people, psychologists and different guys, like forgiveness is for the person who has been hurt
Yeah,
more than for the person who like did the act.
yeah, yeah. No, that's definitely true. I think forgiving it's a tough one.
Mm.
It's a tough one because forgetting it's also one of the strong emotions, and forgetting it shows like that you are the bigger man. It shows that you understand the conditions and the surroundings and the what brought it to this situation, but it's tough to say, okay, let's go back from zero like nothing happened. This is
Well, I
unfair
think
to ask people to
I think that's not true forgiveness, because true forgiveness is letting go of it.
true.
Like
Let's imagine one of your friends stabs you in the back,
yes,
and sometime later he says, I forgive you, like please forgive me.
yeah,
You know what's funny is that something is crazy. Sometimes they screw up and they say, all right, I forgive you. No, bitch. Like,
yeah.
like they are so disconnected. They feel like the conditions under where they acted justified it so much that you should have understood their conditions. No, man. Like,
Yeah,
the
but
results-
like
these are
today,
exceptions.
people don't think by themselves. There's a lot of people making other people feel
Very true.
like the
Very much
stories.
so.
But
Very
let's
much
take
so.
an example of true. If you take a couple, and one of them cheats, or for instance, very hard,
To
very
forgive
hard.
this one. Yeah.
A lot of people think they forgive, they stay with the person, but they don't forgive
But it goes downhill
Because-
because they didn't really forgive.
because they don't have a normal reaction to everything that comes afterwards. They're because you did that, so I'm entitled to react a certain way
Yeah.
to bust your ball, and you can say nothing about
Like
it
you
because
lost
you
some
fucked up.
privileges in the couple.
exactly.
So now the couple is not equal
It's not
anymore. I
balanced.
have the upper hand on you because you screw up.
And usually you can't come back from that.
Yeah, I
And
think
true forgiveness is okay. That thing needs to disappear,
washed.
and
It's
it's
a wash.
almost impossible to really forgive that because it's very emotional.
yeah.
But you need to come back to a normal thing. I cannot start going crazy on things that if you didn't do that the first
Yeah,
time,
you are preconditioned now.
now you're preconditioned. And true forgiveness is letting go of that.
Yeah, it's obviously not easy.
It's,
Even if you want to, sometimes you just can't physically.
It's doable in a lot of relationships, but in a love relationship, it's even hard. It's a bit harder because with time, insecurities. There's always gonna be a time where like you're that's intimate that you don't have like as much shelter as other relationships.
No, for sure, for sure. I think it's a tough one, but not to go too deep into this. But I think cheating is sometimes it's hard to forgive yourself, even if the other person forgives you.
Definitely.
I would feel like such an asshole, even if the other person says, "Oh yeah, you know what? It happened. Don't worry about it. I wish you didn't. I'm hurt,
Yes.
but it takes time. But we will get over it." I'm not sure I will because but going back to breaking the trust and forgiving, there was a story that I heard that was very cool. The snake and the rabbit. The snake, one day he was in the forest. He caught a rabbit, and the rabbit said, "Okay, don't eat me. Every day, I'll bring you one of my friends, and you can eat every day. You don't have to hunt for days before you catch one of us. Every day, I'll bring one of us. I won't tell him, and then he's yours. You don't have to hunt anymore. You're assured a meal every day. If you let me go, of course." Sounds good. I trust you. Yeah, you trust me. I trust you. Don't worry about it. So, okay. First day, and every day he starts coming with one of his buddies. Hey, let's go for a walk.
I know this nice place.
It's awesome. It's to die for. Wink, wink. So he kept going and bringing him one every day. And then the devil started playing with his mind, the rabbit. And he said, one day the snake is going to get angry or too greedy and he's going to want more.
Yeah.
And he's going to want me. And I can't trust him. He scares me with his big teeth, etc. So you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to try to kill that motherfucker.
Okay.
So hypothetically, he got on the tree and he had a big rock on the tree, which obviously is impossible for him to do. That's where the story, you need to use your imagination. You bear with me there.
It's a Moroccan
We're
rabbit.
almost there. We're almost there. Bear with me. He took that big rock. He brought a friend. And while he was eating the friend, he pushed the rock to kill both of them because, hey, the other one is dying anyways.
Yeah.
He missed. The snake looked at him. He said, oh, that's how it's going to be, motherfucker.
You motherfucker.
All right,
Climbing
all right.
rabbit.
And the next day, the snake came anyway. The rabbit came too. He didn't bring any of his buddies. And he was like in a safe distance. He said, listen, I know I betrayed you, but I was scared. Like, maybe I'll bring a friend and you'll eat both of us. I don't know. Like, you're getting more and more hungry. Like, one is not enough for you. You've been arguing back and forth. I'm just too scared, and I can't live with that anymore. So I decided to kill you. And I apologize. I'm so sorry. Let's just go back to where things were, etc.
Yeah.
And the snake said, no, motherfucker, it's not going to work that way. Because now I don't trust you anymore. I cannot forgive you.
Yeah.
Because the trust is broken. One day, maybe you will want to kill me again. You missed once. You're probably not going to miss twice. And you will always think that maybe I would want to get my revenge. So you can never trust me again 100%.
Exactly.
I can never trust you again 100%. So I think the deal is off. If I see you, you toast. Have a good day. But we cannot work this deal anymore.
The prisoner's dilemma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
If
cannot
one
trust
cheats,
me. I
there's
cannot.
only going to be infinity of cheating.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So forgiving makes it really hard because if you break the trust, in my opinion, if you make a mistake, you had pressure, etc., you can forgive. But if you break the trust, then
It's almost, I would say almost, if not impossible.
yeah. But going back to the basic word, which is "I love you." I think also I appreciate what you do, etc. Goes a long way. I think we these are words that are supposed to bring comfort and happiness to people, but we use them very seldomly. Like we almost never use them. Not sure why. They are hard to do. Some of those people from Cut, the little show. They called parents from like with who they were like estranged and a little bit like complicated, etc. And it did open a lot of doors. We had a lot of crying. Like it's a very powerful word.
Well, it conditions you.
But it's very powerful.
Very. Definitely.
Sometimes people know, but they need to hear it.
Yeah.
In Morocco, we have, like we said, a lot of substitutes, etc. I'm sure if I call my mom now and I would say, I love you, she would like feel a little bit like she would, like she does sometimes text me, I love you, and I do text her, I love you. But if I tell her, like, hey, mom, I have an announcement, I love you, I'm not sure about her reaction. Maybe she will try to...
She would worry.
She would worry. You know, a lot of them worried. Like, are you all right? Yeah, what's going on? Like, are you okay?
Yeah, because like if I call my mom and then tell her like, hey, just wanted to tell you I love you, she'll be like, what are you doing? Are you about to die or something?
What's going on? What did you do, motherfucker?
Yeah.
What's wrong? But interesting how it's so powerful that it can also bust some doors that were like ajar and like half open, half closed, some would say. But, you know, with the people who where the tensions, with family members, etc., and like parents sometimes, and when you call them and you say I love you, it's like it's a wash. Let's forget everything. Yeah, all right. I know you love me. Let's focus on this because this
Yeah,
is
that's
that's the ultimate
the
goal.
elevated
Interesting.
layer. Yeah,
Interesting.
definitely.
But yeah, let's just we should say more. I love you. I think they say like you have to show your love and not just talk about
Yeah.
it, be about it.
Well, actually, there's one thing that a lot of people tend to forget, especially in relationships, and when people don't feel loved, parents, children, etc. It's often about consideration
Mm.
more than the love itself. Like considering, taking into account the other person as like her well-being being a priority,
Mm-hmm.
and often that's something that a lot of people miss.
Yeah, no, that definitely. I think it's we should use it more.
Yeah, definitely.
We should definitely use it more, and don't use it too much. Just use it just enough. Like mean it, and it's interesting when you mean it. It's very powerful, very dangerous, but it can also like brighten a lot of people's lives. So, yeah. All right. Well, I think this is it. Thank you. That's a wrap for today. It was actually pretty good. So let's shut it down, and thank you so much, Reda. It was actually
Thank you.
pretty good. We changed the setting as people can notice. Let's keep rolling like this. I think it's pretty comfortable.
It
If
quite
not, yeah.
is.
All right, man. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon.